Hello Nidorinas and Nidorinos, I'm KingNido and today we're coming to you from the wonderful Pony Island where the fairy type stars are trying to keep themselves within striking range of the Elite Four, but to do so they're going to have to end the 3-game win streak of the Verbank Plasma, who not only have the type advantage, are currently sitting in second place on the leaderboard. So with that said, let us know in the comments below who you think is going to win this matchup. Will it be the fairy types? Will it be the poison types? Let's go!
3, 2, 1, go!
But that is right, the Plasma come in with a 3-game win streak, and if they win yet again here today, they will put themselves on top of the leaderboard as they start out with Venusaur and Gengar. It is Carbink and Primarina starting out for the stars, and immediately Gengar goes for the Avalanche, which is not very effective onto Primarina. And Venusaur follows up with the high jump kick, another not very effective move on the water fairy type, who does respond with the hydro pump, but that is going to be avoided by Venusaur, and that wouldn't have been very effective either, as a blaze kick from Carbon gets some good damage there onto Gengar, who does respond with the mortal spin. This is super effective onto Primarina, but that rock typing prevents it from being super effective on Carbink, but doesn't prevent it from being poisoned along with its water type teammate. Those status conditions coming into play early for the Plasma, who go for the double hit from Venusaur onto Carbink. This will not be very effective yet again though onto the rock type, connecting with those two double hits as Primarina goes for the Clanging Scales, and it takes Gengar out of this matchup. They have gotten rid of that cursed body. Primarina lowering its physical defenses in the process to do so, as Carbink follows it up with the flip turn. This is not very effective on to Venusaur, as Carbink is going to go back to the bench, and out in its place does come Hatterene, who does have that part psychic typing, as we see Primarina still feeling the effects of that poisoning. It is going to be Glamora coming out for the Plasma with that toxic debris ability as well, and immediately it does go for the rain dance, so it does begin to rain over the field, and Venusaur follows it up with the defend order. So early on here it is boosting those physical and special defenses. That special defense is base 100 as well, as Primarina is going to respond with the Petal Dance. Get some great damage there onto Glamora, and it doesn't physically touch it, so it doesn't activate that toxic debris. And Hatterene transforms Venusaur into a water type with that soak, as Primarina still feeling the effects of that poisoning, but it's got that Petal Dance going on. Glamora goes for the mean look, but that magic bounce from Hatterene sends it back to Glamora, which is going to make it so Glamora can no longer escape. Venusaur, however, is going to go for the Heal Pulse, and it also goes for the Magic Bounce. Cleverly, seeing that that Magic Bounce was in effect, Venusaur is able to restore its own health, getting itself back to full strength as that Petal Dance finishes off Glamora, and the Pony Stars have made it so the toxic debris will not be set up by Glamora. Hatterene follows up with the Gastro Acid, and this is going to suppress that overgrow ability of Venusaur, as Primarina is put into knockout range by its poisoning. It needs to go for that Petal Dance onto the water type Venusaur, as out comes Muck in its Cantonian form. Venusaur with the Vacuum Wave, not very effective though onto Hatterene. The Petal Dance continues, but it goes for Muck, which is not very effective. And now Primarina is left confused due to the fatigue of that Petal Dance. Muck, looking to capitalize, goes for the Forest's Curse. It's going to add the Grass typing to Primarina here, so it's going to be a Grass Water Fairy type, as Hatterene with the Petal Blizzard connects with everybody on the field. It's super effective onto Venusaur, but it actually takes out its own teammate as well. Primarina has been eliminated. Hatterene not want it to suffer from the poisoning anymore, as Carbink comes back out onto the field. Venusaur was able to hold on, goes for the Heal Bell. That bell will chime, but it will fail because there's no status condition on Muck. Carbink though is going to go with the Mortal Spin. Not very effective onto Muck, but it does get that critical hit, and it's going to leave Venusaur with that poisoning. A poisoning on the normally poison type Pokemon, as Muck with the Mist Ball onto Carbink here gets a good connection on the highly defensive Pokemon and lowers its special attack in the process. Hatterene is going to go for the Body Slam. They are focusing in onto Venusaur, putting it into knockout range, and that poisoning will do some passive damage there as well, making Venusaur a very easy target at the moment. And that poisoning also afflicting Carbink down on the field, as well as Venusaur is going to go for the Brine, capitalizing on that rain and being a water type, going for Hatterene. We get the Healing Wish from Muck. Muck is going to take itself out of this matchup. that could be a big error on the side of the Plasma, as the triple arrows from Carbink is going to finish off Venusaur. There's only 2 Pokemon remaining for the Plasma. We still have 5 Pokemon remaining for the Stars, and Hatterene goes for the Bitter Blade, which does fail, but thankfully it doesn't go for anything reckless, as that rain does stop over the field. But unbelievably, the Stars are in full control of this matchup as Carbink continues to feel the effects of its poisoning. Out comes Overcool, being joined by Tentacruel, and immediately Tentacruel goes with the Psy Shield Bash. Doesn't actually do that much damage though to Carbink. It does boost that physical defense of Tentacruel, and Overcool follows it up by setting up for the Solar Blade. It is going to absorb the light on this turn. Carbink is going to go for the Mountain Gale, focusing on to Overcool, but it doesn't do that much damage. Hatterene follows it up with the Twister, connecting with both poison types, and there is that poisoning that is going to put Carbink into knockout range. It may only have 1 turn left. Tentacruel could capitalize, goes for the Bling attack, but goes for Hatterene instead, and that Solar Blade is going to be finished off by Overcool. It goes for Hatterene and gets the elimination. Very clever, because that poisoning should take out Carbink, but not before Carbink is able to go for the Psychic Noise. But unfortunately, it goes for Overcool, who is immune thanks to its part Dark typing, and that poisoning does finally eliminate Carbink. The Plasma are working their way back into this matchup, as out comes Alolan Ninetales. It is going to be joined by Grimmsnarl, and there is that snow warning, causing it to snow over the field, as Ninetales immediately goes for the Flamethrower here on to Tentacruel, who is able to resist it thanks to its part Water typing, and it does respond with the Teeter Dance. This is going to confuse everybody else on the field, including its own teammate. I'm sure it wants Overcool to not be doing damage to itself. However, it absolutely wants Ninetales and Grimmsnarl to be doing damage to themselves, and Plasma need that help because they are still at the 2-3 disadvantage. And here is Overcool's moment of truth. It needs to shake off this confusion. It is successful. It's going to go for the Attract, but it is not going to work on Grimmsnarl, who's also in a confused state. It needs to go on the offensive to keep the Stars in control, but it goes on the offensive on itself, and that is terrible to see. Ninetales, in a similar situation, needs to shake off its confusion here. It is successful. It is going to go for the Leech Seed, very intelligently putting it on to Overcool and not onto Tentacruel with that Liquid Ooze ability, who responds with the Mean Look, clearly wishing Ninetales would put the Leech Seed onto it instead, making it so Ninetales can no longer escape as well. And Overcool needs to shake off this confusion still, and yet again it is successful, going for the dual Wing Beat, this time onto Ninetales. It connects with the first one, connects with the second one, gets some good damage there onto the Ice Fairy type. But Grimmsnarl has already snapped out of its confusion, and it is going to go for the Tickle, lowering those physical stats of Tentacruel, both that attack and defense. And there is that Leech Seed starting to take effect onto Overcool, sapping that health and giving it to Ninetales, who is going to have a little bit of health restored, but it may take that health away from itself if it can't shake off this confusion. But it is successful. It is able to go for the Rock Smash there on to Overcool, but that Poison Point ability has been activated, so now Ninetales is going to be feeling the effects of that poisoning as well. And there's the Sludge from Tentacruel, super effective on the Grimmsnarl, puts it into knockout range. If Overcool can shake off this confusion, it could finish off Grimmsnarl. That will be massive, but unfortunately it does damage to itself instead, and Grimmsnarl is able to capitalize. It's going to go for the Supersonic, but Overcool is already confused. It needed to go for Tentacruel, and there is that health continuing to be sapped, this time putting Overcool into knockout range, and it will also get Ninetales back to full strength, but that poisoning is going to offset that health being restored, and Ninetales is finally snapped out of its own confusion. It does go for the Wish. It wants to make sure it maintains its full strength there as Tentacruel. With the Psyblade, it does go for Grimmsnarl, who's also part Dark type, so it's immune to Psychic type moves. And Overcool still confused. It really needs to shake this off. It does. It goes with the Defense Curl. It doesn't have much defenses to work with at the moment, giving them a boost here, but it needs to have that health restored, as the Solar Blade is now being set up by Grimmsnarl, so now it's going to be absorbing light. We saw this earlier on. And there is that Leech Seed continuing to afflict Overcool, but it is still hanging on, getting Ninetales back to full strength, and once again offsetting it with that poisoning. But Ninetales is going to go for the Dragon Rush, focusing onto Tentacruel, knowing that that Leech Seed will eventually take Overcool out of this matchup. Tentacruel goes for the Fake Out, but that will fail. and Overcool has snapped out of its confusion as it is going to go for the Tailor Slap. Gets that first connection on to Grimstyle, and the second connection takes it out of this matchup, leveling the playing field. But again, that Leech Seed is going to come into effect, and it will immediately put the Pony Stars back in front, but the snow has stopped over the field, as Ninetales' wish has actually come true as well, so it doesn't even need its health restored. It's just sapping that last bit of health from Overcool to take it out of this matchup. There is the Stars now back in front, but we still don't know who the last Pokemon is, as Ninetales is feeling the effects of that poisoning. It will not have the Leech Seed to offset it anymore, but it is Fluttermane coming out for the Pony Stars, immediately going for the Ice Beam onto Tentacruel. Gets a good connection for a not very effective move there, thanks to that being a critical hit. Ninetales follows it up with the Rock Polish, not focusing in on the offensive. Instead, it's going to give itself a speed boost, trying to move quicker than its teammate. But Tentacruel trying to capitalize, goes for the Thunderbolt. Gets a good amount of damage there onto Ninetales, followed up by that poisoning as well. But Ninetales now with the speed control responds with the Dazzling Gleam. It's not very effective. Tentacruel is able to hold on, but barely, and Fluttermane follows it up with the Electro Shot. It is going to get a special attack boost to that already massive 135 special attack. Tentacruel needs to take Fluttermane out of this match right now. Goes for the Tachyon Cutter. Gets that first connection. It is massive. 2 connections, super effective, but not enough to get the elimination. Needs the Stars to make an error, as Ninetales is still feeling the effects of that poisoning. Tentacruel is an easy target. Ninetales with the Glaive Rush. They're not waiting for the Electro Shot. Ninetales is going to finish the job itself. And the Stars have ended the 3-game win streak of the Plasma, and that will prevent them from getting on top of the leaderboard as well. This is a massive victory here on Pony Island, as it does move the Stars up into 8th place, and next round they will be going up against the Vilestone Breakers, whereas for the Plasma next round they will be going up against the Viridian Magma. But until then, Nidorinas, Nidorinos, thank you so much for watching. Let us know in the comments below who you thought was the best on field, and if you enjoyed what you saw, please leave a like, share, subscribe, but more importantly, always remember, you are awesome, and I'll see you when you see me.